Good morning from day 2, Sony Kando. Let's go ask some friends some questions.
Can I ask you questions while you put your breakfast together here?
What is a mistake you made early on in your career that you would have done differently, or something that you see people often making a mistake of?
Can you go back to me? That's a loaded question.
I don't need an existential crisis at 7 a.m.
Not having a contract is number one, and then not being assertive and letting other people take control of my photo shoots.
Take risks at all. I am the most risk-averse person ever. I waited way longer to launch anything that I ever wanted to do. I took too long to raise my prices. I took too long to launch presets. I took too long to switch to new cameras. I just need to be more or less risk-averse, and I think that I would have progressed a lot faster.
When I was at the height of my wedding business, I should have created a multi-photographer wedding business. And so I was all uppity, I only do high-end weddings, And I should have started a lower brand, kind of like Banana Republic, then they have Old Navy, and then they have the lower brands. That's what I should have done and gone more volume, and I could be making money right now without actually having to do weddings. And so that was my one big mistake. So I always tell people to expand their business, especially when they're hot.
Not spending as much time learning the actual business side of photography and spending a lot of time on the craft.
Looking back, I really think it would have been a game changer for me, or sped up my progression in my career, and if I'd known the importance of defining your own style. In an industry that is very saturated, and anytime you're providing your service, your creativity as a service, client pleasing is going to be a big important part of it, but having your own signature and really focusing on creating your own identity and carving out your style, spending time to really develop that is so important, even in a space that has a lot of copy and paste energy. That's what will set you apart, and that was a game changer for me when I started carving out my style.
All right, so the one mistake that I feel that one thing that I could have really corrected in my YouTube career is that everyone has a peak. You peak out, you start to become a hot commodity on YouTube, right? You start to kind of blow up, and it's almost like you have to take advantage of that because it's not gonna last forever. And I wish that I knew more of the business side of online video making, so that so right now I'm not figuring out, is YouTube is it gonna be a long-term thing for me? So I just wish I capitalized on that fire that I had maybe 3-4 years ago. I wish I knew what I knew now about creating different sources of revenue. Yeah, there you go.
I think early on, probably one of the big things was I wish I would have had more creative control on a few things, because a few projects didn't turn out quite the way I would have wanted, and that was because the client was kind of taking over things. And I think that if you assert yourself more and you're in control, things are going to turn out better.
I think one of the biggest things that I probably think I could have fixed in my YouTube career, I think it's about collaboration. A lot of times when you're coming up, a lot of times you're kind of just focused on yourself. And I really wish I kind of really would have branched out a little bit more, trying to get a lot of people's feels. A lot of us, we see each other on YouTube, we see each other's styles and what everybody has. And then probably honestly just recently I started doing more collaborations with other photographers, other videographers and things, and it really helps the community. And that's one of the biggest things about me, is I'm all about the community. So I wish I would have kind of gotten to that a little bit earlier. I could have learned more styles. I could have helped myself more. But now I'm kind of playing catch up, trying to do trying to do more collaborations and things. So if you guys are out there, if you're really starting, or you're kind of starting to hit that rise and everything, start branching out and start doing things with other photographers. Kind of don't be selfish. And it really actually helps. So I think that's one of the biggest things that I really probably could have keyed in on earlier in my YouTube career also. But it's working out now, so it's great.
Not assisting other photographers, I think. I was doing photography for a while, and I never in my life assisted a single person. So everything that I had to learn the hard way. I mean, I watched some YouTube videos, but it's not the same as seeing the person like shoot in person. It's definitely like a nice way to speed things up. So if I was to start now, I would definitely make sure that I can assist as many people as possible, especially if the photographers are good, because it's going to give you so much of a better understanding than any courses, any YouTube videos will do. So definitely that.
Also, this is the 14, so I'm like,
wow, it's super wide. The one mistake that I made was putting my face way too close to a wide-angle lens. No. So the one mistake that I would say is just not messing up enough. I don't know if that makes sense, but far too many times people just are like, they mess up once and then they never try to execute an idea again. And part of learning and getting better is like messing up a lot. So get an idea, try to shoot it. If it doesn't work out, it's okay. Take the experience, put it in your back pocket, do it again.
I think one mistake that I made when I was just getting started was focusing too much on little things that I thought were big things. Title and thumbnail and that kind of stuff for my YouTube videos is important, but I think like things like tags or like packing the description full of keywords and that kind of stuff, like I think it makes less of a difference than you want it to make when you're first starting out. And you spend a lot of time and energy on it, and then when it doesn't work, it's very disappointing. So I do a lot less of that now and focus on a couple of key things that are much bigger, more important factors, like the title and the thumbnail.
When I first got started, the worst advice I got from someone was focus on one thing, master that one thing, and when you master it, stick with it. Don't jump into this, don't jump into that, don't jump it. It was the worst advice I got, because I can only imagine had I did what I did, I would be even further than where I am today. So not only do I shoot weddings, but I shoot amazing portraits. Not only do I shoot portraits, but I shoot sports. I've shot for the NFL, I've shot for Major League Baseball. And because I did not just stick into one genre and be put in this box, it opened up doors. So when the pandemic shut down weddings, I was able to do family photos. I was able to do commercial shoots for brands like the Hilton, different boutiques in the neighborhood. And then I had teams that were like, hey, would you be willing to come, shoot this for the Big Ten? I was able to do those things. And so I just really believe, don't let people put you in a box. Allow yourself to go out there and see what you want to do. Because I know for a fact, I'm not going to be doing weddings forever. So it's like, all right, what's the next step? What am I going to do? So I have a studio now that I've opened that other photographers can come to and use the studio. It's a creative space where you can host weddings and intimate gatherings. So all of these different things that I've learned was that tap into so many other things. Because you may start in one thing and be like, oh, yeah, this is it. But after a while, you're like, oh, I don't like this anymore. And then you're like, okay, I'm going to just put my camera down. But if you keep searching into other genres, you may find out, oh, I really like being in the studio shooting fashion or shooting portraits or shooting families. And I don't care what no one tells you, there is money to be made in this industry.
I would educate myself better on the business side. Even though if you have talent doesn't really pay the bills, neither do followers. So I would educate myself on the business side, the ins and outs, the back end, the operations, how to manage my business, what to file in regards to taxes, and to start my LLC. And probably the biggest mistake out of all those other mistakes or things I would want to learn is probably to start sooner, be a freelancer and believe in myself. Because if you don't believe in yourself, nobody else will.
I would take my course. I'm not joking. Like, literally, I built it for my old self. But jokes aside, I mean, it's half joke. Just learning to see light better from the get-go, no matter what kind of camera.
You almost got hit by a vehicle.
Yeah, and also dodging vehicles when you're in the middle of roads is a very good skill as a photographer.
Street photography for sure.
Especially, and wedding photography also. I used to do it with my clients. The shots came out great. Clients were like, what are we doing? I'm like, don't worry, we're good. We are fine. Assistant, help me, please.